Okay, safety. The reason I'm doing this video on safety is because Laurie's parents flew out from Ontario, and I've met them once. I'm not really sure why they came. Actually, I know exactly why they came. They don't trust me with their daughter. Who would? She's gorgeous. And she wants to go with me on my boat around the world. So they've come out to check me out, to see what kind of a guy I am and if I'm worthy. I think I'm worthy. But they want to see what the hell's going on. So that's what we're doing. We're doing a parent checkout. And they want to find out, is this guy going to take care of their daughter? So that's why I'm going to do safety first, because they're here. And I kind of emphasize that I'm trying to do this safely. So we'll see how it goes. They're really nice people. So like I said, Laurie's parents are here, and I'm just starting to go through my list of safety stuff. And I'm really not sure what to do.
Hello.
I really can't. Here's the family.
Yes, we're here.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, Mary and John.
Like I told you, they're here to check me out to see if I'm worthy of their daughter.
Oh.
So this is the big test. But we're going to start with safety on the boat.
On the boat.
That's what we're doing. Safety on the boat. So they know that I'm taking care of their little girl. Right, guys?
That's right.
So far, so good?
Yeah.
Don't take any risks.
Don't take any risks. No risks. Anything else, John? Nope.
Just make sure she's happy.
Make her happy. I have a list.
There we go.
I have a list.
Okay, let's see the list.
Make her happy.
Is that on that list?
That's about all apparently John cares about. Just make her happy and get her home alive. Anyway, it's great to have them around, and I'll start this video later. Okay, it's raining here in Sydney. It's time to do the safety show. And what I've got is a list of all the things that I've listed on my boat that I think I have here because of safety. And we're going to go over them one by one. Anyway, so let's dig right in. So, first thing that I've got that I bought from a friend of mine who bought is a life raft. My life raft is an 8-man life raft. It's probably too big for Laurie and I, but there's a possibility of having more people on board. So I have a Zodiac life raft, and you'll see where it's mounted on my boat, and something you might need, hopefully you don't. Okay, we're going to look at my life raft and where my life raft is. And the life raft on a Lagoon 400 is the aforementioned Lagoon 400. It's kind of under here. So you can see it right there. That's my life raft. And it's a Survive Deck. 8-person, just got repacked. It's all certified and ready to go. Jack lines. Jack lines are a safety line that runs from on my boat, from this massive post all the way around the boat and back over to this post. That's where it's going to be. And this is what I'm using for my jack line right now. So the jack line goes from here all the way around the boat. I go through that pad eye in the front, through that pad eye, and then back to that post. And we'll show you how that works in a minute. And then I'd go in from this winch to a post on the front of the boat with another line coming along here, and that's how I get to the front of the boat, and I'm always harnessed in. Jack lines, life jacket, tether, all designed to keep you on the boat. So this is about tether. I've got a tether, Laurie's got a tether, everybody on the boat will have a tether. So this is my harness, and it attaches me to the boat. This is my tether. So how this works is the tether goes through here, and now I got my tether attached. So my tether has a 6-foot bungee section for holding me on, and a 3-foot section for doing short work. So we travel to the front of the boat, connected to our jack lines with a 3-foot, and with a 3-foot tether, it's impossible for us to get from the jack line over the lifelines and into the ocean. It'll keep us on the boat. And when I get further up and I need to extend, I would attach my 6-foot tether to the jack lines, and it would allow me to go 6 feet away. And that's how we stay attached to the boat. Man overboard button. So you need to know where it is. Everybody on the boat knows where the man overboard button is. Mine is right there. Push the button and it'll drop a waypoint on the screen, and it'll come up as a man overboard and handheld VHF. So every boat has a VHF radio. Mine's up there. You can see it right beside the throttles, but you can't take that with you in an emergency. So for safety reasons, we have a handheld, and the handheld will is a VHF, and we push this little button here, and it'll send a message to the Coast Guard through our MMSI number, which is a sailing term for my license number over the radio waves, I guess you could call it. And so that's my standard Horizon floating waterproof handheld VHF. Another little handheld unit we have here is the InReach DeLorme satellite communicator. It's able to receive texts and communicate texts. It also, if you wanted to follow us around the world, it drops locations via the satellite systems, and drops GPS readings of where the boat was at what time, and it'll follow us around the world. If you want to go up the mast, I don't know if you've been up a mast before, but if you go up on mast, most people have a bosun's chair. It's a plank with varying degrees of security to make sure you don't fall off of this plank. For me, I have a complete harness with a front rest back. It's the bomb. I'm not a big fan of falling from heights, so it's the top of the line safety device for climbing masts. You're gonna see it. You're gonna love it. So this is the full body harness. So my lift comes from here, and I have a secondary restraining lift here. So 2 lines go up. I use my topping lift and my halyard for my sail, and these are designed for people that are working full 7-day hour, out on the. I saw a video of these guys that were making windmills, the big electrical ones. They're out working, swinging around, and very safe. It's fully approved, and it's the bomb. AIS. AIS is an electronic gizmo that works with your VHF radio, and it sends out a broadcasts. It broadcasts out to other people on the ocean where you are, where you're going. Very, very cool. My AIS broadcasts and receives. So AIS is a system that that allows you to be seen and to see. And you take a look inside. This is inside my electrical cabinet. So in here I have a bunch of other stuff, but this is my AIS. It's a Vesper. That's my Vesper antenna, and that is my GPS part of that whole system, and that's my AIS. I have a 2.5 horsepower Yamaha that I put on the back of my dinghy if we're going into a very rough beach. I don't want to go into the beach with a 150-pound 20 horsepower, so I yank the 20, throw on the 15, and I'll show you how that's done. And there goes a jet. He's going to Mexico. I'm sitting here in the rain. Yep, he's going to Mexico. So as I said before, this is my dinghy with 20 horsepower on it. 150 pounds, battery for electric start, stuff like that. Very heavy. Boat weighs about 90 pounds. And this is my little 37-pound 2.5. So if we are going to go onto a beach that has like rolling waves and stuff like that, it's hard to haul up this heavy motor. We would throw this little girl on. We may even row in, who knows, but the option's there. So I've got a little 2.5. The other thing about the 2.5 from the safety perspective was Laurie is new to the boating world, and she didn't grow up around outboards, and this is a 9.5-foot dinghy with a 20 on it. It's fast, and if you don't know what you're doing, you get into trouble. So that little 2.5 down there, that one, is not fast. So if we're going to be in a port where we're fairly close to shore, and we're not going to be running the dinghy, and Laurie's going to be running back and forth, I feel way safer having her with a 2 horsepower than I do with a 20. Now with a 2 horsepower and nothing in the boat, it planes out with me in it. Unbelievable. So it's a great. I think it's a great thing to have. So anyway, the 2.5. So this boat has 3 big anchors on board. First of all, I have my primary anchor, which is a stainless steel Rockna 33. And then we go further down the chain. I have a safety here, locks it onto the boat. And when I'm running inside intercoastal, I put a swivel on there. And the main reason I put the swivel on there is because when I put my shackle on there, it smashes my fiberglass. And so this is cleaner, and rarely is very big wind in here. Then this chain runs back across this channel to my windlass. Yes, I have a brand new spare windlass downstairs. To my chain locker. In my chain locker, I have 300 feet of chain, 200 feet of road, and I will have another 200 feet of chain before I leave for the South Pacific. Big safety item for any kind of boat is a secondary way to get to someplace safely and quickly from your boat, and this is what I have. It is a 9.5 aluminum hulled ultralight dinghy from AB with a 20 horsepower Yamaha electric start, and it really rocks. This boat flies. My weather guy is going to get paid to tell me when I should leave and whether my weather window is good. I don't have 5 years to learn weather. I don't have 10 years to learn weather. And one of the guys that I really respect, he said he's been out there for about 17 years. He learns about weather every single time he goes out. Well, these guys do it as a profession. It's their trade. I will put my trust into paying for weather, and he's going to send me information via the sat phone, and that's huge safety thing is being in touch with your weather. Another thing that I have on the boat is and if you've followed the channel at all, you've seen this. This is my solar panels. I have 1500 watts of solar on board. So there's 5 panels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I have 5 panels on board, and these two panels here go to a separate controller down underneath my guest bed. These 3 panels go to exactly the same controller, same style of controller beside it. So I have 2 controllers in the basement, underneath the bed. If one of my controllers calves, then I still will have, power coming from panels, so I can, if I'm on an open pass. So It's redundancy. I could have bought one controller to do them all. It would have been a little less money, a little less work, but I have the ability to have one packet in, and I'll still be good to go. So, and if my solar packs it in, and my generators or my alternators on my motor pack it in, and everything comes down to it, it gets down to the little Honda generator. I used it when we first got the boat quite a bit because I didn't have solar. Now it's kind of a dust collector. GPS, Global Positioning Systems. GPS on this boat, everybody goes, well, what happens if the GPS fails? Well, if an individual unit on my boat fails, guess what? There's 7 GPSs on this boat right now. My phone, my laptops, my iPads. I have 2 stations on board here. Both have GPSs on them. I have a bike computer GPS. I mean, we would have to have a major shit fight before, if everything blew up and all at once, it would be impossible. I mean, I got 7 backups. And if everybody goes, what happens if the GPS system in the world goes down? You know what? The guys flying the airplanes, they're all going to crash. I'm going to be in a pretty good position because I'll be still floating on the water, won't know where the hell I am. But people will be dying all over the world because every single airplane's coming down. So, you know, no, I don't have a sextant. So I got 2 engines. I got 40 horsepower on that side. I got 40 horsepower on that side. I got a fuel tank on that side and a fuel tank on that side. One engine goes down, I got another engine. Safety. Redundancy. It's one of the things that catamarans kind of come with. This boat has an enclosed helm, and that means that I've got a little canopy that goes around my helm. It's accessible to the inside of the boat. It's warm out here, and I have all of my lines led back to the steering station, the helm station. That is big. If it's really nasty out there, last week I sailed from Vancouver to Nanaimo. I had gusts of 40 knots, 15-foot waves, and they weren't very far apart. I was diving between them. I never left the inside of the boat. So this will probably be interesting for people. This will be interesting for people that don't sail. Sailboaters, I kind of know where I'm going with this one. The most important thing on any sailboat is this little device right here. This is my Autopilot. Everybody has a name for their Autopilot. Most people call them Auto. A lot of people use female names. I call mine the Autopilot. It steers the boat, and it steers it for years. So that's the Autopilot. Very important part. From a safety perspective, you don't get tired when Autopilot is doing the job. If you have to steer, you will soon learn that it's very, very tiring to steer a boat for 24 hours on a 20-day passage. They used to do that, but they had a lot of people to do it. So this is the most important part of the sailboat. Everybody, comment below if you think there's something more important than Autopilot. Don't think so. I think it's kind of important. And my Autopilot is a Raymarine hydraulic ram, which is downstairs, and it turns both hulls. It has a computer, an electronic compass, and it works really well. As I did mention, I do have an infrared camera on board. Some of the infrared cameras that are on some of the boats are like really expensive, $10,000, like silly. What I did was, I'm an electrician, and I went to the electrical wholesaler and I picked up me FLIR infrared camera. It's not maritime, but it's for construction. It takes a banging and keeps on. And what it does for me, 2 things. I can shoot electrical connectors, and it'll tell me if they're hot. or if they're cold, for safety reasons. And the other thing it does is it will pick up a body, a warm body floating in the open ocean. I've seen seals with it, and so it does definitely work. And this little camera is the infrared part. So if you take a look at, hopefully you can see this. So there's the screen. It's shooting at the ceiling right now, and I'm going to bring my hand into view. There's my hand. So what I can do with this is I leave it out on the, if we're doing an ocean passage and it's dark and somebody goes overboard, you can see their body in the water after you've pushed the man overboard button. And it's a great little device to have on board for multiple purposes. And it's pretty colors. So that's the FLIR. I think it's called a 165. It's an electrician's device, but it has the same sensor as the devices for the sailboats at about a third of the cost. So underneath this part of my boat, underneath here, is my bilge. It's a happy bilge, and I needed a light so you can see. So there's my pump. On board I have 2 pumps that are hooked up here, and I have 2 spares in boxes. And to be quite honest with you, I have taken the pumps out and put them back in just to see how long it takes me to do. And on the far side there against the wall is my level. There's a little bit of water floating around in there. I can explain that later. But what this one's about is bilge alarm. So this little unit here is my rule bilge alarm, and what happens with it is the light's gotta go. Is water comes up, float lifts. So I've basically what's going to happen is the bilge is going to ring if water gets to that level there. That is above everything that I have stored in the boat. And too many times I've heard about people we went down into the bottom of the boat and the floorboards were floating. Not going to happen. Downside is, had to do it on the other side as well. So I've got 2 of them. They both work. I check them on a regular basis. And bilge alarms. If you don't have them, get them. As I mentioned before, we had a little bit of an incident with a log. And once the log smashed into the hull, and luckily we had no damage, I ran out and I purchased floodlights. So I'm in my workshop, and another nice thing about well, we'll get to that later, is that I know where stuff is, which is fantastic. Most of the time I know where stuff is. So this is my LED bow lights, and I've got mounts for them, and they're 12 volt, and I run them on a regular cord, and you can see here I just plug it into a cigarette lighter, and that illuminates the ocean for me, so I don't run into logs. Not a big deal in Fiji, pretty big deal around Vancouver Island. When my father was alive, we sailed on this boat quite a bit. He had a motorhome, we had the sailboat, and he came out with me in the first season that he sailed with us, 52 days. So to get him around, he was almost 90, and he was just about unable to walk. He had to have handholds everywhere. So when he came in, he would grab onto this, and then he would grab onto this. I added this, and then I had a chair for him that sat right there, and then he would go to this handhold to get to the washroom. I added this. This one's stock. This one I added. This one I added. This one I added. This one I added. I think you get the idea. This boat has handholds everywhere. If we go back into the guest bedroom, you got it. Handhold here. Handhold here. This is where my dad slept. And their handholds are everywhere. And when we were out we were out, well, I was out on a really rough day, and I came down this side, we call it my dad's side, and the handholds were great. So guess what? Because they worked on his side, I installed handholds for me. I installed this one, I installed this one, I installed this one. So I have handholds when I come down into my cabin. I can do exactly the same thing. And then anytime I'm out and I go walking around in rough weather, and I go to myself, oh, I wish there was a handhold here. I get back, I write a note. I don't put it in my iPad. I write a note and I install it. So I installed a handhold there. As you can see, when you're coming back from here, you're holding on to here. You have no place to go, so handhold keeps me down to here, and then I can get to here, and then I'm inside the boat. I have handholds here. I have additional handholds here. We have handholds all along the edge of the boat. Those were installed by the factory. I got a handhold here. When the canvas is off, I've got handholds. You can see a handhold there. You can see a handhold there. Back to my original handhold. So, I feel really confident when I run around the boat that I've got 2 feet planted and 1 hand planted. And it's worked out really well. I got 1 more handhold to put in, and it's going to be really, really hard to do. So I left it to last. That seems to be my style. Anyway, handholds, good to have. And don't be bashful. Throw them in if you think you need them. This is going to be the controversial one. This one will get more comments than anything. And the comments are going to be, do you carry a gun? So, you know this boat's registered in Canada. You know that I'm Canadian. And I'm just reaching for something here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn off my dehumidifier. I'm carrying bear spray, and I think that's as aggressive as I'm going to get. As far as it's not for bears. If somebody wants to come on board and they're not showing guns and they're getting aggressive, I might be tempted, but we'll see. But leave us your comments below. So as these videos are going on, this particular video, you've noticed that I walk around a lot, and that's because I can. So I got a big walkway in the back here, nothing in the way. I've got a massive walkway leading to the boat. These decks are flush mounted. I can walk up here, I can walk everywhere. Bit of a tripping hazard on the windlass, and I can walk back here. Shrouds are mounted to the outside of the boat. So we walk inboard of the shroud, and there's breathing room here. Lots of breathing room. So that's a fantastic advantage to a clean Lagoon walkway. Thanks, Lagoon. So when anybody comes onto my boat, if they're going to spend the night, I go over a few safety items with them. And the safety items I go over them with, the very first one is fire extinguishers. So in the galley, the kitchen, I have 2. I got another one right here. Some people use this for wine. We use it for almond milk and fire extinguishers. Yeah, so I got 2 fire extinguishers in the galley. So many times I've heard people say, I almost got the fire out and then the extinguisher ran out. Well, if this one runs out, we dive for the second one, which is really close. You may have to reach over the flames to get it, but it's around. And if it's not there, then I've got fire extinguishers everywhere. I've got them everywhere. So the people that come onto the boat get to know where the fire extinguishers are. I got fire extinguishers here. I've got fire extinguishers here. I think you get the idea. I got fire extinguishers everywhere. I thought there was 7 on board. There's actually 9. That's okay. 9's good. And I even have some big ones. Big ones! That one is back here for guests. So if they're coming out in a fire situation, they're coming out with a big one. Anyway, that's fire extinguishers. Real important. Gotta have them. Yeah, so that's about it for safety. I've, you know, there's always other things you can do, and there's always other stuff that's going on. But for now, that's about it. So this was a pretty long video. If you made it to the end, then you're serious about learning stuff about keeping yourself safe on the open water. And I doubt there's many of you that made it to the end. This isn't for the general consumption public. This is for people that are planning on doing stuff on primarily a catamaran. There's lots of stuff out there for monohulls, not much for catamarans. And this is just my experience. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. I like paying back to the catamaran sailing community. I learned a lot from videos from all kinds of people over the years, and it's my time to pay back. So that's about it. So next video I'm going to do is a DOC, which I told you was degree of comfort. It's the toys and stuff we have on board to keep ourselves amused. I have a short attention span, so I need lots of stuff to keep me amused. Anyway, cheers everybody. Have fun, and if you're seriously thinking about going on a catamaran, give me a call. Maybe you can come sailing with me. Bye.